Hey, data streamer.
Yo, GU, what's up?
Imagine waking up in a flawless utopia. No hunger, no war, no pain. For me, yeah, it sounds perfect, right?
Hmm.
But why do so many sci fi stories turn utopias into horror shows?
It's
Well, I
interesting.
mean, realistically, you won't make a movie about an utopia being all happy and just a life about it. That would be boring, right? I guess.
Maybe not. I mean that is actually that's actually probably not even such a bad premise. Like literally a movie of somebody who lives in a utopia and literally nothing happens
Like
and
without political drama
no
or
drama.
whatever.
They're just literally going about their day, and maybe something like it's like, oh, I have to make it to a movie or something, or I'm meeting up with my friends and there's like, oh, something is in the way, like, oh, the traffic, or something, oh, this thing breaks, I have to get the repair guys to fix it. Or it's like, I mean, what are the challenges of living in a utopia? That's like, that's like, but not like the oh my god, this utopia is actually a horror show kind of
Yeah,
movie. But that would be an interesting premise, like
yeah.
what's going on. But okay, we got sidetracked a bit, but like,
Yeah, but yeah, back to the debate. Like
yeah,
most movies, like about sci-fi with the perfect utopia,
yeah,
eventually there's drama, right? Right.
yeah. I think that's probably why things kind of turn to shit in utopias, because there's drama and there's a few things that humans do um just because they're humans, which is kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb actually, and it
Well,
doesn't make sense, but humans do it anyways.
I think in a way, if especially if we look in history, when a human becomes too powerful, they get corrupt.
Yeah, they think they can do
So I
whatever they
think
want.
based, yeah, exactly. So based on that, I think yeah, most of the sci-fi movies
Yeah,
in a perfect utopia, or there's a way of utopia. There is this overlord, right?
yeah, yeah, because a perfect utopia means that everybody has to play by the rules, and the rules are like legitimately, like they are maintained. There's like probably some kind of strong police or strong kind of like law and order, because you can't deviate from the. So there you have it already. You're already starting like with the why do they turn into horror shows? Because a strong utopia probably means that there's a lot of control over the population.
Yeah.
Possibly,
It was
you know,
it is forced in a way. Yeah.
it
Aggression
has.
has to be used
Yeah,
to come to that point, right?
yeah, something like that. I've seen like literally every single show I've seen at some point, or movie even at some point, they have this, oh, this is a perfect world, but something's off. If somebody has a different opinion of what is correct, they might get in trouble with the authorities. Then so then there
Yeah,
you there you start, having the thing.
the whole life doesn't work then anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody
So
else is thinking differently.
yeah, I mean that's like the theory, but is that really? I mean, my question would be then, like, does a utopia require such control, that much control? Because a lot of things, the most basic utopia is a horror show storyline in most science fiction is that it turns into some kind of authoritarian state, you know. But does a
No.
utopia actually require that much control of a population? You know. That's like the thing that I'm wondering, because but it probably still does. It probably does. I mean, even like our imperfect governments or societies today, they require they require a lot of control of the population. I mean, the police and
Yeah.
all these things. But
Yeah.
one of the main issues is that humans are weird in whatever they do. Um, and one of the
And
weirdest,
what we
yeah. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of the
what
weirdest what?
one of the weirdest things that I think humans do, and something that I actually kind of, I don't really like this. I think it's dumb in a lot of ways, but I probably did it as well. It's is the well, millennials did it less than other generations, but it's the rebelling against the previous generation. That's something that humans always do. They always rebel against the previous generation.
But that there was a turning point for that, right? Because in tribes, in tribes, it's
Yeah,
the other way around, right? Right, as in you respect your elder because
yeah,
they're the most knowledgeable,
yeah,
and that's it. You don't
yeah,
rebel against them.
yeah.
That's
But
what
that,
you still see in like those
yeah,
primal tribes.
yeah. But I'm not really talking. Yeah, but in those kinds of societies, there's a lot of really control from the top. It's controlled a lot, and even control from the ancestors as well. A lot of times, a lot of those tribes are have ancestor worship. So not
Mm.
only is control from your mother, father, grandparents, but also from your dead relatives are also, you know, controlling your life in some way because you have to act in the way that your ancestors would approve, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that in those kinds of tribes. But what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about actually like rebelling as in like they're going to fight. I'm talking about like difference of opinions. The young people always have a different opinion about things than the older people. They always think they know better. They always try to change the things because they know better, blah, blah. This always happens every single
Especially
time.
nowadays.
Now it's,
Especially, I
yeah,
mean, for us, I think for our generation, millennials, then in this case, it for us, we grew up more heavily with the internet compared with our parents. So,
yeah,
so we have a ground, we have basis to say that yeah, we have more knowledge than our parents, and I think
yeah,
us also. Okay, in my case, I had more the opportunity to do better studies.
yeah. So that would automatically make you have different opinions than your parents. So there's always this part that, unless the utopia we're talking about like kind of takes this kind of thing into account, it's going to collapse. You know, so difference of opinion is probably the main thing that causes these things to collapse and turn into some kind of hellscape because they don't want to lose control and all kinds of stuff. So, but you see it like the younger generation always rebels against what the previous generation does. It always does this. So there's no way around it. You see it in like, for example, in like clothing. You see it immediately in clothing. They always go for something else. You see it in movies and music. It always like flips, and like suddenly the music that was cool when we were kids is suddenly like lame and old. Even though like I'm of the opinion that like a lot of the punk rock and heavy metal bands from the 80s and 90s are actually harder than any of the things the Gen Zers are thinking of these days. Like these guys.
Yeah.
If you just look at these bands and listen to their lyrics and all that stuff, you're like, yeah, okay, Gen Zers, they just talk about crap. It's like but of course, if I say something like that, people will immediately react with okay boomer or whatever but when you were actually looking at what's going on, it's not just like punk rock in the 80s and the 90s. It's not just music. It wasn't just, oh, I'm listening to this song on Spotify. No, it was like an entire like lifestyle. You know what I mean? There's no lifestyle anymore connected to music. People are just listening to it on Spotify or whatever, or YouTube, and that's it. If you wanted to listen to punk rock in the 80s, you had to be, a lot of times you had to be in the scene. You had to be there. You had to be walking, looking around for the music. You had to know people. I remember I would have to travel. Sometimes I even went to other countries but I'm not talking about like the late 90s when I was coming up. Early 2000s, it was still a thing, especially with like, when you had like anime. With anime, you couldn't find that anywhere. So sometimes I would go to Germany, go to Belgium to buy stuff because you couldn't find it in the Netherlands, that kind of stuff. Those kinds of things don't happen these days. So you can tell in what they're in like their media that it's like not as like there's a big difference in how they live, which causes them to have different opinions on things, and how to causes them to like kind of approach life differently than how we would approach life. You know what I mean? So that causes an immediate shift, which if we would be living in a utopia, they would stop doing
And
things.
also, So if you would think like living in an utopia, there would be no crime, everything is under control. But the
Yeah,
thing is, I recently listened to this podcast about the darkness inside humans, and one thing they say, like, this is something inside every human.
yeah,
Every human being has a form of aggression.
yeah,
So where would the aggression be? Like, you know, crime happens. Like a current topic here in the Netherlands is femicide.
yeah,
So that's also like caused by human aggression.
yeah, yeah.
So
The
this what I mean is
yeah,
this aggression. This is a core piece of us being humans, human beings.
yeah,
And even though we would have this perfect utopia, this aggression is still inside of the human. So what would that mean? Like crime would still be there. It has to be.
probably, most likely, it will be really low. Um, like for example, like in Japan, Japan has like almost no crime, but there's still crime, but it's like really low. Same
And
as
I
like,
know, yeah. I mean, Japanese
yeah,
people, they also have a lot of aggression inside of them.
yeah, yeah. Of
You
course.
can totally tell. Yeah.
Yeah, aggression is usually like when like you're you feel unheard and you have a different opinion and you feel like people are ignoring you or whatever, and it manifests in
And
certain ways,
and traumas and stuff, of course.
traumas and
So
all kinds of things. So yeah, aggression is the manifestation of a lot of things that people happens to people. So that's always a tough one, especially when you're talking about Utopia. Like when you have that Christian Bale movie. What was that called again?
Batman.
No, no, not that one. Before that one, Deuterium, Elysium. What was it called? Well, anyways, it was this movie where they like created this utopia by having when they created this drug that limited human emotions, so people start being aggressive and whatever. I forgot the name of the movie. I'll look it up. I'll post a poster on the screen. You can see it now. Christian Bale movie would add this whole gun kata thing and whatever, but they chemically altered humans so that they would not show emotions. But then they went a step further in where they like removed things that would cause emotions from people. So like the opening scene of the movie was them hunting down a classical painting, and then when they found it, it's like the Mona Lisa. And like, oh, we found it, the Mona Lisa. Oh, and then what they do, they burned it because the Mona Lisa causes people to have emotions and shit. So that's like one of the things where you're talking about the whole aggression thing. That's like how this movie said that this world solved that issue. The whole what do you call it, emotion issue was solved both chemically and like by removing things that would cause emotion. So the entire world was completely gray. Everything was, there was like almost no colors anywhere, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is a component that would. So I mean, I'm not sure that a utopia would necessarily turn into like authoritarianism, but it would take a lot of energy to maintain one. Just because humans are crazy, humans just they're just unhinged.
Okay, but
Yeah,
that's because one major factor could be that because of traumas, childhood traumas,
yeah,
abuse, and stuff. But imagine that like therapy is evolving
yeah,
and it gets better, it gets more popular, so it gets more applicable.
yeah,
So this could potentially, like I would say, quote unquote, cure a lot of aggression inside of
yeah,
people. And
possibly,
people, they do have the we do have the tools to channel this aggression, right?
yeah,
So you go for boxing or something, boxing classes.
yeah, yeah.
So it is solvable.
I mean, it is solvable. I mean, look. I mean, there are several societies where aggression is. I mean, like the Japanese society, people get mad, but people don't lash out that much there. And when
I
they,
think they do.
well, not as much as you would have it here in the Netherlands or something. When they lash out, it's usually not towards others. It's usually towards themselves. You know,
I think
it's
more than NL even, man.
no,
To
man.
be honest.
No, not in my experience. I've been when I lived there, it was like no, there's like completely. Now they may
I noticed more street aggression by Japanese when I was there than
where
in the
were you?
Netherlands. Tokyo.
Yeah, okay, maybe Tokyo. I don't know. I was mostly in like the outskirts, not in the city. So I guess maybe like the more country towns have it less, but I didn't notice. I mean, if you're walking down Shibuya or walking down what do you call it? I forgot the name of it
Shinjuku,
by
Kabukicho.
Shinjuku, yeah, Kabukicho, yeah, exactly, Kabukicho. um, I mean, yeah, okay, that's a crazy place. Roppongi. I mean, that's like, of course, but nah, not in my experience. In my experience, there's like very low aggression out there.
I mean, high
You
stress
know,
Japanese plus alcohol equals
yeah,
aggression, man.
yeah, but there you have it. You're bringing in the like the theory behind that movie we just talked about. Remove the things that cause it. So if you don't drink alcohol, you
Okay, so
don't notice it. You know.
if there's no stress, yeah, no aggression, I
Remove
guess.
stress. I mean, working for a traditional Japanese company is like the most stressful thing ever on this planet. It's so insane. It's changing in Japan, but those traditional companies, they really suck the life out of you. Luckily, when I worked there, I was working for an IT company, so whatever. It was like completely IT, and IT companies are like, there's like super
But
relaxed, almost no hierarchy, whatever.
yeah, and that world, in my opinion, if we live in a perfect utopia where everything like is already complete, we don't have to improve anymore. It
Maybe.
sounds boring, right?
Yeah, that's also a thing. Would a utopia be complete and no need for improvements? I'm not sure about that, but if it is, yeah, it sounds boring. Stagnation will probably hit really hard because there's nothing to solve, nothing to improve. But I don't think that's gonna happen. There's no way. There's no way we humans would reach a point where like, oh yeah, this is good. Where just simply because of the laws of physics, it's not gonna happen. We have entropy in this universe, wear and tear. There's no way that will ever happen. You would have to
I mean,
stop the laws of
yeah.
physics in the universe, So, but even if people think they did, after 100 years of people thinking this is perfect, no need to, they would notice that everything is falling apart around them, and they would have
Yeah,
to
I
do
mean,
something
if
about it.
this how we live now in 2025,
Yeah,
we are doing a podcast. You are there in the other side of town, of the country, whatever, and we're
yeah,
doing this. We could almost say, yeah, life is already quite perfect, right? But
yeah,
imagine in 100 years.
yeah.
And wait, before I continue,
Oh,
dear listeners, like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for supporting us.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
so
yeah. Go on. Sorry.
the how we live now, it feels like, yeah, we everything's digitalized.
Yeah,
We have our computers and our smartphones where we can easily pay, and you
yeah.
know uh, we can solve quantum computing with our smartphones, but we use it to smile emojis to each other.
Hmm.
But in 100 years,
I mean,
people will
just
people will think that we are really old fashioned, or like,
yeah,
they are comparing us with how we would compare the dark ages, the middle ages.
probably. I mean, just think about how people lived 100 years ago. Just think about it.
Exactly.
What is this? Like 100 years
Roaring
ago.
20s, man. Roaring
Yeah,
20s, man.
yeah, exactly. But 100
Well,
years
okay, it
ago,
changed. It changed it. Yeah, 100 years ago, it changed. Like, back then, it was bootleg alcohol. Now it's like Mokro Mafia and stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But like 100 years ago, it was like the automobile was coming up. The automobile
Yeah.
was like the big tech. That was the big tech of the time.
Yeah.
Building roads, that was big tech. Airplanes were coming up. Airplanes were like, oh my god, airplanes. That was like big tech. Like, holy shit, look at that. There were still horse-drawn carriages riding around on the streets normally 100 years ago. That still happened. These days, it's just like some kind of amusement thing that like randomly happens at like an amusement park,
Yeah.
or like some like very little, some places have it, but back then it was normal. But most people did not have cars, that kind of stuff. So let alone like a radio or something like that. Like, you didn't even have
Yeah.
television. We had no screens, zero screens. You know. So like, yeah, it's if you're trying to imagine a world of 100 years from now, just envision that context that 100 years. If ask somebody of 100 years ago about a smartphone, what do you mean? Like a smartphone? They don't even know. Man, ask somebody 20 years ago about a smartphone. You know, like
Yeah.
what are we talking about here? Like 2005. The smartest smartphone was what, like an N95, Nokia N95 with Symbian. That was probably the smartest smartphone out there. I think it had a touchscreen, the N95, but you know, that's like that was it. And I think the idea, the like the what do you call it? The term smartphone was probably developed like around 20 years ago. So ask somebody 30 years ago about a smartphone, like they know what you're talking about. They wouldn't even understand it. They wouldn't even. It would be like, well, what are you doing? Completely insane concept. You know, I mean, in 2001 or 2000, Bill Gates was laughed out of the room when he unveiled the tablet PC. Like,
I
you remember that?
Yeah.
People laughed at it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this guy. What are you gonna? Literally saw people say stuff like, "What are you gonna do? Just use your fingers only to touch on stuff." What are you? They were making fun of using fingers to use the device. You know, they were making fun of that. And 10 years later, Steve Jobs does pretty much the same presentation. There are pictures of them holding the device. Bill Gates 10 years earlier, Steve Jobs 10 years later, holding the device at the exact same way. And Bill Gates was laughed out of the room, and Steve Jobs was seen as some kind of messiah of the technology. You know, so you know the concept of like what like humans would be doing in a utopia or in 100 years, or is completely like, it's kind of insane. We have no idea what people are gonna be doing. We have no idea what people will be doing 10 years from now. You know, 10 years ago, like what are you like, you know, it's like, you know, it's like it's pretty insane, everything, you know.
Even in 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
I mean,
like look at like how drones, the modern day quadcopter drones, how that developed. 10 years ago they first popped up
now.
Yeah, 10 years ago they first popped up as like toys, like dinky toys, whatever, who cares, like they fell apart, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Now they're being
Suddenly they replaced the job of a cameraman in a helicopter.
yeah. They're like,
Also the helicopter pilot.
yeah,
That job also gets like replaced.
yeah, exactly, that kind of stuff. Just like, yeah, these are the kinds of things that cause utopias to just fall apart, because new developments, like to summarize, is like people just rebel against their ancestors constantly. They always rebel against the previous generation. It always happens. You know, look at it in fashion. Look at fashion. Late 80s, everything was about skinny jeans, skinny pants, like skinny leather. 90s, suddenly everything's baggy pants, baggy blah blah blah, the mom jeans, whatever, everything's baggy. Late 90s, early 2000s, it was like the wide leg, baggy, super baggy wide leg jeans. That was a millennial thing, by the way. And then like after that, it was like skinny jeans were a thing for like 10 years. Skinny jeans. And now suddenly Gen Zers are back at the baggy wide leg pants. They think they invented it, but it was like literally invented in the 90s by the millennials. You know. You know what I mean? It's like, or at least for the millennials. Millennials were still like teenagers back then, but it's like, you know, it's like the cycle of rebelling against the previous generation.
But also getting inspired. I
Yeah.
mean, the Gen Z doesn't like really say that they are the ones who invented it, but there's always you would say I would say it's being inspired by the love for vintage stuff, the love for old
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
It's always in a way returning, right?
Yeah, there's always some kind of vintage thing going on. Millennials had the vintage thing with the whole you know, like 1930s 1940s style of music, and like artists, you know, like Caro Amero or whatever her name was, I don't remember, those kinds of songs, those like kind of like urban 1920s 30s kind of jazzy songs. The whole lumberjack style of the millennials, you know, the lumberjack with the thing, that's also some old school thing, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's always, there's always something. I mean, like in the while at the same time that in the late 90s and early 2000s they had the baggy jeans, they at the same time had the bell bottom jeans that came back from the 70s. The low cut bell bottom jeans from the 70s, they came back at the same time as those big wide leg jeans, the Jenko jeans. So you had several like fashions that were parallel going around, that kind of stuff. So there's always something coming back in the fashion. There's always some kind of retro thing happening in fashion. So it's pretty funny how that works. They always rebel, but at the same time, they always grab the thing from 2 generations ago or a generation ago. Not the one of the exact previous generation, but the one before. It's always funny like that. It's funny,
Yeah,
That's
those are always
fashion.
also nice because it's yeah, exactly, that's fashion, because I like it how it's being combined as well with like new school fashion with old school fashion. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, but the fashion world, the way it works, it demonstrates the idea that like even if you have this perfect size, somebody's always going to come up with something new to disrupt everything. So how can you build a utopia if it gets disrupted constantly? The idea,
Oh,
even
yeah.
the idea of a utopia would change. Like let's say we millennials come together, figure out this is the ideal utopia. Gen Z is gonna be like, no, this is the one. And then Gen Alpha's like, no, this is the one. So it will have to constantly change and constantly evolve, so there's never, it's not gonna work.
That would be an interesting question though. Like if you would ask this question to your little cousins and nieces and nephews, that like if you just simply ask like, "Hey, little nephew, how would if there was a perfect world, how would you describe it?"
Yeah, it's probably something about being able to play Fortnite or Roblox all day or something. Probably something like that. Like, oh wow, that's great. So something along those trends, or Minecraft every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like how would your retirement look like?
dude,
Yeah, imagine
VR,
how VR will, yes, how would VR, how the quality of
dude,
VR. I mean,
dude.
in a couple of years, we will get 8K VR.
Dude, I'm waiting for the
One
Neuralink.
day,
Yeah,
Neuralink VR. Oh, so you can brain dance.
yeah, I'm waiting for the Nerve Gear, just complete to full dive VR, man. Yeah, like whatever, dude. None of this current iteration is just a sidestep to like the actual thing where it's like Nerve Gear, full dive VR. Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Looking forward to that. Looking
Yeah.
forward to our retirement, I guess.
Dude, I am
Yeah.
gonna be in an MMO every day at my retirement. Are you crazy, dude? I am logged in. Yeah,
I
man.
I can see myself doing that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
With
am
my
logged
retirement,
in.
yes, hell yes. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, dear listeners, what do you think? How would you describe your perfect utopia? Leave a comment down below. And I'm really curious about how it looks like. And let's share our thoughts. Thank you for listening, everybody. Please like and subscribe to support us. And we will see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Bye bye.